Everyone. Thank you so much for joining the North Central Texas Economic Development District's webinar. Today's presentation will focus on North Central Texas, where nature and economic development happens. This, of course, is very important to quality of life across the district's entire region and is very important to economic development. Both of those items are goals that were identified in the region's comprehensive economic development strategy. And as many of you know that attend our board meetings and webinars, we try to tie all of our meeting presentations and webinar presentations back to the CEDS, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the region. This morning, our guest presenter is Steve Smith. He is the founder and board president of Trinity Coalition, and they have built this brilliant interactive map that allows users to find nature and nature experiences, to explore all the opportunities we have across the region related to nature. So they're going to go over a few slides and then demo that mapping tool for you. If you have any questions, all attendees are muted. So if you have any questions, please post them in the chat, and Steve and his team will get to those questions after the presentation. Thank you again for joining us this morning. Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce Amy and begin the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Prit. I'm delighted to be on this morning, and thank those of you that are taking time out to learn about what we're doing to connect nature to economic activity here in the North Texas area. The purpose of the presentation, as you'll see, is to package all the what I'd call amazing nature experiences we have here in DFW as a way of improving the quality of life of current residents, encourage new economic activity, and improve the brand of DFW as we go into the 2026 World Cup season. Next. Okay, I'm the founder and board president of Trinity Coalition. Who are we? We're a 501c3. We were founded in 2015 by a collection of Dallas area business people who love nature and want to encourage other people to get into nature. Our mission is to transform the Trinity River corridor into a nationally recognized conservation and recreation area. In doing that, we have been successful at getting the National Park Service to put their brand on our river. The Trinity River is now a national water trail. We received that designation in 2020. We're one of only about 30 national water trails in the National Park Service and the only one in Texas. A new initiative that we have just recently begun is to improve the quality of life of local residents and encourage new economic development, both using nature as a theme. And I know a lot of you out there will say, as I've heard from many of my friends, there's really not much nature here. What are you talking about, Steve? Well, I'm going to show you there is a lot of nature here. Next slide, please. Trinity Coalition, working with a number of people, including the person who's running this presentation and who put all of the presentation together, Amy Snellgrove, has created what we call the Trinity River Nature Recreation Area. We have been spending the last couple of years gathering data on all of the tremendous nature places related to the Trinity River and putting that into a mapping tool, both a static mapping tool, and then we also have a dashboard that we're developing. Next slide, please. Okay, what is the geography here? You know, all of you that are on the call here are likely live in North Texas. And what we show you here is a map focusing on the Trinity River. The Trinity River is the blue lines, and you can see that the blue lines go through Fort Worth on the left side, goes through Arlington, Grand Prairie, Irving, into Dallas, and then starting up around Lake Louisville, it goes down through, you know, Coppell and Farmers Branch and Louisville. And so that's the geography that we're talking about, essentially from the base of the Lake Louisville Dam, the base of Eagle Mountain Lake, and then ending as the river leaves the city of Dallas, headed down to Galveston. One reason that we believe that this will be an important way for people to enjoy nature and create new economic activity here is that the with the third largest airport in the world is right in the middle of this. You know, DFW and Love Field both have, you know, combined about 1,800 flights a day. So what we have done is we have set out to collect all of the nature experiences and the sites for those experiences here in DFW. And we've categorized the experience into a National Water Trail. We have 21 canoe launches, hike and bike trailheads. We have 36 trail sections with over 100 miles of trails, mountain bike trails, 10 mountain bike trail networks with 113 miles of mountain bike trails. Nature centers, we have 14 of those. And then even golf courses. I'll admit to being a golfer, and people say, what's that got to do with nature? I mean, that's some of my best nature experiences I've ever had. I've been on a golf course. I was just out there the other day, and a flock of Canada geese were flying over, cackling away as they headed up to Canada. And you know, this is early March. I thought, what? Aren't you kind of early to be going up there this time? But the point is, there's nature everywhere, even on a golf course. Next slide, please. Okay, let's talk about nature experiences. And the first slide you'll see on, well, the point of the cover slide, Amy, go back. Let's talk about we all recognize the city of Dallas there, the skyline, and there's a lake that the skyline's reflected in. Very few people have ever seen that. That's not photoshopped. There's actually a lake that reflects the skyline of Dallas in the southeastern part of town. Okay, next slide. And what we'll see here is a map with a table. Get used to this because we have 5 of these, and with each different kind of nature experience. And so what you see on the left there is the map that we showed you earlier with the river and the lakes, the DFW airport. We've even drawn a circle that goes out 20-mile radius of DFW airport. And this is to show people how close all of these things are to where you would land when you fly into DFW. And so what we're showing here is a hike and bike trailheads. And each of those numbers represents a park that is connected by a paved 12-foot wide concrete bike trail. And you can see that there are 36 total. If you look over to the right, you'll see the table. We tell people, you know, what is the park name? You know, the first one is Pecan Valley in Fort Worth. The size in that case is 25 acres. Does it have a restroom? That's important. It turns out it does there. Does it have a picnic area? No, that one doesn't, but most of them do. Does it have a playground? And what is the trail name? Each of the cities names the trail based on what their brand to say. So in Fort Worth, they call it the Trinity Trail. And what is the part of the river that it's on? In this case, Pecan Valley is on the Clear Fork. If you scroll down, you'll see the West Fork and then the Elm Fork. Elm Fork comes down from Lake Louisville. And then when they come together, they call that the main stem. So as you scroll down through there, you can see the various parks that are on these trails. And the main reason that it's important to have a park there is, you know, it's going to be maintained. You know, it will have parking. You know that it does have, you know, trash cleanup. So all of those areas are places where you or someone else could put their bike or just hop out with their dog and go walking. So 36 total hike and bike trailheads. Next slide, please. Okay, now we see the mountain bike trails, and these are you know, mountain biking by nature is a cluster of trails. So we have 10 different clusters of trails, and you can see the table to the right. We have it numbered. We tell you the park name, location, the number of trails. You know, Marion Sansom in West Fort Worth has 25 mountain bike trails. They have quite a bit of vertical over there. You know, they're up on the top of a hill, and so you get about 190 vertical feet. I mean, if you really like mountain biking, you know, biking on a mountain, that's a great one to do it in. The distance of its trails is 13, and you can see that we've taken from a national source called All Trails, and they rate mountain bike trails by easy, moderate, or hard. And you can see, for example, that the Marion Sampson Trail has 4 trails that they consider hard by their standards, and that's standards are like Rocky Mountain or Appalachian. So if you really want to bike a mountain, Marion Sampson's a place to do it in Fort Worth. You scroll down through there, you'll see River Legacy, a very popular mountain bike trail in Arlington with 13 trails, 3 of them rated difficult. Scroll on down even farther, a very popular mountain bike trail here in Dallas is LB Houston. You can see that that's, if you've ridden it, it's just flat. And so it's, 10 trails are rated easy, 1 moderate, and then no difficult ones. And then you go down to the bottom, the third from the bottom, Big Cedar, which most people don't know about. That's down in the southern part of Dallas, the very northern part of the Texas Hill Country. And you can get down there. They have 16 trails with about 144 vertical feet. So it goes up and down a lot. And they have either moderate or easy trails, generally with 1 tough one. So if you look at the bottom, you'll see there are a total of 113 mountain bike trails here with 123 miles, and 56 are easy, 51 are moderate, 9 are difficult. So that's the mountain biking. Next slide, please. Okay, here's the golf trails. I won't spend much time on this because most of you don't play golf and maybe don't even view golfing as a nature activity, but it is interesting that the golf industry has come up with a golf trail program all around the country. Golf courses are being packaged as a trail. And the reason for that is that golfers usually like to go play different golf courses. And so, there's the most famous trail is in Alabama, where they have their entire state is covered with collection of trails. And you fly into Birmingham. I'm from Birmingham, so I know all about that. Fly into Birmingham, you drive around the state. You don't have to drive around here. I mean, look at this. The DFW airport, almost all of these 21 golf courses are within 20 miles of our airport. And on the right side there, you'll see the name of the golf course, where it's located, how long, how difficult it is, and what river tributary is it's on. So, this is designed to let people around the world who want to play golf, you can go to Scotland if you want to, but come here. And there are a lot of places to play, and they're very inexpensive compared to other places in the world. Next slide. Okay, let's look at nature centers, and this is near and dear to most of our hearts because this is where you can take your family. It's very easy to figure out what to do once you get there. You're very safe. You're usually indoors, and what you see here is 14 different nature centers, and you can see that almost all are within 20 miles of the DFW airport. And looking at the table to the right, you have the name of the nature center, where is it located, what type nature center is it? Cedar Hill State Park is a state park. We show you the size. In their case, they're 1,200 acres. That's 2 square miles. If you haven't been to Cedar Hill State Park, you definitely should go there. It's an amazing part of DFW. How many miles of hiking trails, where there's a fee, it's a state park, so there is a fee, and even whether it has a gift shop. So if you want to buy souvenirs, which if you come over from other parts of the country and you want to get a souvenir showing you were in Dallas, and it tells you where there's a gift shop, and most of them do have gift shops. You can scroll on down there. You can see that there are several in Dallas. Fort Worth has some, and Arlington, and as well as Louisville. So a lot of nature centers here. Next slide, please. This is the National Water Trail, which really got Trinity Coalition started back in 2020, as I told you earlier. What you see here, indicated by a kayak, is a canoe or kayak launch that currently exists. And you can see they're all up and down the river. And the most downstream one is down at Loop 12 in southern part of Dallas, and that's L21. And look at the table to the right. We'll tell you the name of the location and what city is it in, what type canoe launch is it. In the case of Fort Worth, they have one launch that's a floating dock, and the other that's a gravel bar. And you can see some are boat ramps. Does it have a restroom? That's important to know. What's the length to the next takeout if you're going downstream, and are there any obstacles? That's important because If there are dams there, you need a portage around the dams. If there's a log jam, you need to know about that. So this is designed to increase the level of safety on the river. Next slide, please. Okay, what about lakes? So there are numerous lakes that dam up the Trinity River here, and they mostly are there for flood control. So the metropolitan area does not get flooded during the floods, usually in the spring. Next slide, please. And you'll see here the same map that we've been looking at with the DFW airport and 20-mile radius. With all the lakes that we have here, we're going to focus on 4 of them. Lake Louisville, Grapevine, Benbrook, and Joe Pool Lake. And the reason we're focusing on those is those are Corps of Engineers lakes. The Corps of Engineers does not allow buildings to be built on its shoreline. And the importance of that is if you're out there on a lake, you're looking at nature. You're looking at trees on the shoreline, not a bunch of houses. So those are the 4 we'll look at. Next slide. And here's the largest of the 4, Lake Louisville. And you can see we've got numbered the various boat ramps that are on the lake, and there are 22 total. And so if you've got a motorboat, you got a kayak, you got a raft, whatever you need to get down into the river, these are the places you can do it. And they all have parking. Most of them have restrooms. And you can see the table on the right, the name of the park, location. It doesn't have a boat ramp. Almost all do. Is there camping there? Because a lot of people from both here in DFW and around the country, around the world, they like to camp. And so does it have a camping area? Yes, most of them do. Can you hike there? Some do. Is there a beach? There are 12 beaches in DFW. You don't have to drive to Galveston to get a beach. There are 12 of them here. Are there playgrounds? And you can see yes or no. So next slide, please. Grapevine, a smaller lake, but very visible here in DFW. And you can see the same indication with the boat ramps indicated with that icon. We tell you where are the boat ramps? Do they have camping, hiking, beach, playground? All of those things are important. If you're considering coming down from Minnesota or coming over from Germany or just driving up from Austin, now you know where to find these things. Next, please. Benbrook Lake, you can see the same thing. Location, and they're all around the lake. The blue lines we've put there because that is an indication of where you can kayak. If you want to put in and go along the shoreline, it's not safe to get a kayak out in the middle of a lake usually because you might encounter big waves or might encounter a boat, but you can go along the shoreline. So you can see how many miles of hiking, of kayaking you can do, 14 miles in this case. Next slide. This is Joe Pool down in Grand Prairie, same indication. They have 4 different boat ramps down there, and they you can go up and down the shoreline there. And the right side of that slide, which is east, is really in the northern part of the Texas Hill Country. You can see the Austin Ridge down there from the lake. It's a beautiful part of the Metroplex. Next slide, please. Okay, let's look at hotels, because if you're coming in from out of town and you want to enjoy all of these nature experiences, you can stay with friends or you stay in a hotel. And what we've done here on the slide we're about to show you is all of the hotels that are full service. Next slide, please. So what we show you here is what we're calling full service hotels. And the note at the very bottom, you'll see full service are defined as hotels with greater than 300 rooms or boutique in nature. And the reason that we've done it that way is, number one, to keep the map from getting too crowded, because if we had all the hotels, that's all you would see was orange dots. But the other reason is that full service hotels, almost by definition, have concierge service. And so what we're talking with this tool that we've got is we're going to be delivering this tool to the concierges in all of these hotels. So if somebody comes in, say they haven't seen the map, and they say, where can I go kayaking? The concierge look right up on their computer and say, okay, here's various places you can go. What about if I want to go to a nature center? Here's where you can go. So one of the main purposes of all of this is to educate the public, both individually through the website we've created or through the hotels, that when people say, you know, where can I go eat? They know that. Where can I go to a play? They know that. They say, where can I go kayak? Oh, now they know. And so you can see the clustering of hotels. There are 85 in total. And just these 85 hotels, not counting all the rest of them, have over 36,000 keys or rooms. And you can see they're spread all over the North Texas area. Next slide, please. Okay, now we're going to be talking about an interactive platform, and we've showed you a collection of static maps, and Amy Snellgrove has put together a dashboard of interactive maps that we're about to show you. So the ones that we showed you are on our website. The ones that we're about to show you, we're putting together to make it available on your phone or your iPad. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's the map that we've been looking at, the same 20-mile radius. And on the left here, what we see is the various categories of nature experiences that we've just showed you. And why don't we click on Nature Center? The way to get a map, you'll click on that box on the left side. Let's see. Okay, click on Nature Centers. Okay, and then what you'll see is the nature centers. You remember that static map that we had? So these are all the nature centers that were on the map. The difference now is that you can click on this and it will describe the experience. So why don't we, Dallas Zoo, let's check on that one. So what Amy has done using artificial intelligence is to go into the websites of each of these nature centers and then standardize the description. They all have, glowing descriptions about why you should go there. And so we've standardized the description so you can see that what the Dallas Zoo says about itself in a standardized form is it was founded in 1888. It's got 106 acres, has over 2,000 animals from around the world. Exhibits include the giants of Savannah, showcasing African wildlife and the wilds of Africa. The zoo is dedicated to conservation, education, and providing engaging experiences for visitors of all ages. It also offers seasonal events and interactive programs to enhance learning and connection with wildlife. And in their case, they have no hiking trails. If you've been there, it's all fully enclosed and, paved walking areas. It tells you where it's located. And the visit there, if you click on that, it will take you to their website. So if you want to see what they really say about themselves, you can get all of this information on this dashboard. Wow. As a dad who's taken his daughter to a lot of zoos, this is an amazing tool that will make much more efficient families that want to go various places or even couples or nature groups. Let's look at another one. Go over to River Legacy. Let's look at Arlington, Amy. Okay, click on River Legacy. If you haven't been to River Legacy, you should go there. It's an amazing nature center. So what they say about themselves is they're located in Arlington, hub of environmental education, conservation, set within 1,300 acres, offers interactive exhibits, features nature trails, hands-on discovery room. Mission is to foster an appreciation of nature, promote environmental stewardship through engaging family-friendly activities. Let's click on their website, see what they look like, Amy. So Discover Nature with Us is their theme. And so, a lot of things that your family and your kids can do. And okay, let's go back to the map. And so let's maybe, why don't we click on the mountain bike so people can see a different way of looking at it. Click on the mountain bike and let's go up to 6. That's LB Houston, I believe. Okay, this describes the LB Houston Mountain Bike Trail. It says it's located in Fort Worth. I think that's we need to correct that. So, which points out one of the reasons we're showing you this is that we want as much editing as we can do to make sure that we get this right. But it shows well-maintained trails not much vertical drop, which means it's very flat. A lot of people like that. So we have, click on the hike and bike trailheads just so people can see that we've got all of that covered. So these will be a pretty brief description of the Campion Trail. So that's the interactive map, which is it's still under development, but it's probably 95% finished. And I'm really pleased with the way this has turned out. Help people figure out what's there. Next slide, please. Uh, is the next one? I think the next one's on the World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, it should be there. Can you see it?
I can see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Because of the visibility that Trinity Coalition has gotten through the National Water Trail and even with the platform that we're showing you here, Trinity Coalition has been asked by the World Cup Organizing Committee through a sustainability group whether we would be interested in leading nature experiences for people that come here from all over the world. And of course, we love to do that. I mean, that's the business we're in as a nonprofit. And so we are in the early stages of assembling an organization that will have hundreds of volunteers leading nature experiences. The dates of the World Cup are summer of next year, from July 14th to from June 14th to July 14th. The World Cup Organizing Committee has gone on record as saying they expect there'll be 100,000 visitors a day during that 30-day period. And Trinity Coalition, as I mentioned, is going to be leading nature experiences during that period of time and working on the logistics of where these people will stay, where are we going to take them, how will they get there, how do we make sure they're safe, all of the things that go into making sure that the world has the appreciation for the Dallas area that we expect it to. Next slide, please. So we're nearing the end of this, and so how can you help? Hopefully you've been impressed with the work that we've done. We have a website, visit d-fw.com, that will show you the static maps that we have. We are in the process of developing links to various hotels so that when people see all the things you can do in nature here, they'll have a way of booking a hotel room. And we're hoping to get commissions from that to help support the nature experiences we have here, make sure we have good signage, all of the other things associated with a mature nature area. So one way you can help is to send me any additions or corrections of the maps and sources of publicly available data that we can pull from. Amy's done a tremendous job finding sources of data, but we don't have all the data there is, and especially on the hotels. Second thing you could do is encourage your area's tourism officials to allow our website, visit d-fw.com, to be posted on their website. What we mean by that is to have a tab on the home page. It would say something like nature. People click on that, they would go into all the things that you've just seen. And the third thing is that we are really evangelical about this. We want to spread the word as quickly as we can and as widely as we can. So the third thing is to invite us to present to any group in your area that promotes economic development and quality of life. So we've been focusing a lot on tourists, but there's another part of that, and it's the people who already live here, the 8 million of us that live here. Most do not know the things that we've just showed you. So if there's a way through your city's website or some other way that you're promoting quality of life and you want people to be able to get out into the entire DFW, North Texas area, not just focused on your particular city limits, that we love to talk to people either on a team Zooms meeting or actually come out in person to a Chamber of Commerce event or something like that. So those are the things that you can help. Next slide, please. So now, Brett, we are ready for questions, and you can see my name, email address, and you can see the email or the website of our mission. So we're right at 30 minutes. So Brett, let's see if we got any questions out there. You're on mute.
Unmuted. One of our district board members had mentioned that there's a couple of spaces across Dallas County that are not on the map. And so I'm going to, like you had said, I'm going to share your contact information along with a link to the map and the slide deck. So for anyone, I mean, Steve and Amy just went over, highlighted a handful of places. And as Steve had indicated, this map is in 95%, so it's still somewhat in draft. We'll send a link out to the map so you all can look, and if you see missing pieces or corrections that need to be made, you'll be able to update Steve on that information.
Yeah,
Okay.
one thing I want to add to what you just said is that the maps that we've created were specifically focused on the Trinity River. And so we were very Trinity River focused and had intended to always be that way until we were approached by the World Cup folks. And they said, well, there are nature centers that are not near the river, and we need to get those on there, but we don't have the source of that data. So we would appreciate you sending us anything you have about canoe launches, hike and bike places, nature centers. We know they're out there, and we want to get them on the map. So that's a big help for us to make sure we're fully promoting everything you can do here in North Texas, whether you're by the river or not. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll add real quick, Steve, this is Amy, just working on through this, like it mentions in the bottom left corner of if anybody noticed on the dashboard, we're still working. So we're trying to refine, add information. We'll be adding, where you can get directions, adding addresses for locations so that when you click get directions, it'll automatically launch Google Maps, for example, or, Apple Maps, whatever you're on, and allow you to put your location to navigate to. So as Steve mentioned, yes, definitely keep sending him that. We'll be glad to add all of it. And then add corrections that we may have missed or that are inaccurate. It's still in development. So we're hoping definitely to have everything collected no later than this summer to get that done. So yeah, thanks for sending information to us.
Thank you, Amy, for that clarification. So we've got a question here. Is there a reason some lakes in the Upper Trinity area might not be listed? Is the 20-mile radius the limit for this area or this effort?
Is a question about the 20-mile radius?
So the first question is there a reason some of the lakes in the Upper Trinity are not included or not listed?
Well, if they're not included, it's because we didn't know about them, and that's why we need help. So,
okay,
send us whatever you've got. Yeah.
Okay. And then the second half of that question is the 20-mile radius the limit for this effort or this area? That circle.
No, we chose 20 miles because that's as much as we could fit on a slide. But so there's nothing magic about 20 miles. We're just trying to give people some perspective of distance. Denton, for example, is an amazing place. McKinney's an amazing place, but they're off the slide. That doesn't mean they're not in North Texas. So we're certainly willing to expand, go to 25 or 30 miles as we get data from new places that are not necessarily within the 20 miles.
Steve, that sounds like this map is going to be a living map, and it could potentially grow as far as what it's providing, as far as information it's providing, but also the geography.
Yes, and I'm glad you put it that way, because this is the first time anybody other than Amy and Britt and I have seen these slides. So this is the first day of the rest of our life with this, and my personal goal and the goal of Trinity Coalition is to make North Texas, DFW, Dallas, whatever you want to call it, to be the nature place to go. Right now, Austin is known that way, Portland, Seattle. In fact, I Googled over the weekend the best urban areas to do nature in the U.S. They had a list of 50. We're not in the 50. We're not even in the 50. And my goal is to be in the top 3. So we got some work to do.
I think that would be a great effort for all of us. There's another question. Would it fit to include nature preserves, nature preserve locations throughout the region that are close to the rivers?
Well, it would be important to include all those. That's a category we need to have.
Okay.
A close friend of mine has been really important in getting the Oak Cliff Nature Preserve. And when we did the map, he said, "Why is that not on there?" I said, "It's not within a mile of the Trinity River," which was our rule back then. But there are numerous nature preserves. So if people can send the nature preserves, I know Plano's got a terrific nature preserve. Grapevine's got one. You know, there are a lot of them. So we'll start including nature preserves, because that's we really don't have. The one thing that's missing there is dirt trails. Nature trails that are on there. We have the bike trails, but we need to have a category for hiking on dirt, which I enjoy doing. So nature preserves would be a way to do that. So please send in whatever information you've got, and we'll put it on the map.
Great. Here's another question. Are the hike and bike trails and associated maps assuming the trail is either paved and or gravel?
Well, the hike bike trails that we have there are paved. They're concrete, and the North Central Texas Council of Governments has provided funding to create what they're calling the DFW Discovery Trail, which is a 60-mile trail from Fort Worth to Dallas, right along the riverbank, almost all the way. And that trail is 90% complete, and that's the core of what we have there. And then you've got the Campion Trail that Irving has that goes north. And so those are the two trails that we have, but those are, there are numerous other trails, but the ones we show on the map are, thank you, Amy. All of those are paved trails. There are a couple of gaps. You can see the green means the trail is finished, and orange means the trail is not finished, but is funded and will be finished.
There's a comment from Kelly Baggett from Fort Worth. This is fantastic. Great work, Steve. Since so many visitors will be coming for the World Cup, seems like an opportunity to partner and connect with small businesses to have kayak and bike rentals ready for travelers. Kelly and anyone on this call, this is part of the reason we hosted this webinar. Is we'll provide Steve's contact information. It's also here on the screen. If you'd like him to come present, him and Amy come present, so that we can, get more interest and more folks aware of this new interactive map that's going to be, I think it's still in draft, but you can still see it correct, but then it will be officially published sometime in the summer.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. We focus on hotels because that's an easy way to identify economic activity associated with coming in to enjoy nature. But there are other bike stores or kayak stores. There are even restaurants. The cyclists tell me that everybody likes to go to have a beer after cycling. So we'll start putting, restaurants and things like that. So you'll know if you're going to be riding your bike from Fort Worth to Dallas, where can I stop for lunch? We'll have maps for things like that. Yeah.
And then I see some suggestions here as far as places to add. And I can certainly grab those from the chat and send them to you, as well as the presentation as well. So I don't see any additional actual questions here. Just again, some suggestions on places that can be added to the map. If anyone has any last minute questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I will share those with Steve and Amy.
Well, and I'll finish, Pritt, by first thanking the Council of Governments for getting us started. It was the enthusiasm that your team had back in 2018 when we first started the National Water Trail, what became the National Water Trail. And that's the launch pin for everything we're doing. And I really appreciate what you and your department are doing to, link nature to economic activity. Who would have thought that in DFW? Austin thinks that way. Portland thinks that way. We need to think that way. So I'm looking forward, Pritt, to working with you and other members of North Central Texas Council of Governments to collect all this information. I mean, this is just the beginning, but I think it's a terrific beginning, something I never would have thought of 2 years ago when we started. So thank you for giving us the audience to present it.
Thank you. I mean, this is a really exciting tool, and as I said on the front end, this is really important as far as quality of life for our residents, but then such a great economic development tool to draw folks here from other parts of the country, the state, or even nationally, especially with the World Cup coming up next year. So for those folks that are still on the call, I will be sharing the PowerPoint, a link to the draft interactive tool online, as well as Steve's contact information. For any suggestions that were offered throughout the chat, those I'll go ahead and share with Steve, but of course you can resend those to him. This was, as Steve indicated, their first presentation on this draft interactive tool. If you would like him to come present to you virtually or in person to your organization, your city, your county, please know that they're very open to that. This was just honestly the kickoff, and we've had good attendance, and hopefully more folks. We'll post this on our YouTube page, and more folks will become aware of this tool, and we can just go from there and work towards, as Steve said, becoming recognized as a wonderful nature area for folks to come visit.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all so much. And Jerry, I think you'll have to actually end the webinar since I made you the host. And thank you, everyone. Jerry.